Hi, my name is Kim, and you are Michelle. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And just to give you a little bit of information about my role and what we're going to be doing here, it'll be about a 10-minute session today. And what we're going to do is we're going to kind of discuss your values, and over time, over multiple sessions, we'll start to talk about what your values are and maybe how some behaviors are not matching up with your values. And then we'll kind of discuss what are the positive sides of changing and maybe what are some of the negative sides of changing or staying as things are now. And then we'll eventually come to the conclusion of, what you want to do from there. And like I said before, it's always going to be about what you want to do, what you are desiring to do. It's not anything that I will force. So we're not going to make you change by the end of this. It will ultimately be what you decide.
Okay.
And there's probably a lot of questions you have regarding what we're doing. And if at any point in time you have questions, just let me know, and I'll be glad to help you out as much as possible. Or if you have concerns, you can always bring those up as well.
Okay.
So I have your file here, and I've read it over, but I like to know what your side of things are, because this is from our intake person, but I'd like to hear the story from you a little bit more. What brings you here today?
Okay. Well, basically, I'm here because my mom wants me to be here. She believes that I have an alcohol problem, and out of respect for my parents, because family is important to me, and I live with my mom and dad. I'm here because, I do respect her, and even though I disagree.
So it sounds like family is really important to you.
Hmm.
Okay, so we're going to kind of talk about that. We're going to discuss more things as well. You've already identified family as something that's important to you, but I actually have this worksheet, and it has a list of values that may be important to you. So if you could identify maybe three that are probably the top on your list, and then we'll talk a little bit more about that.
Okay. Well, like I said, I'd probably go with family. Um, Health and well-being would be one. I do like to being healthy is important, and living a good lifestyle. Um, and finally, I would say competence and success, because being successful is also something that is important.
So it sounds like you have a lot of things that you value, and they kind of guide how you do things in your life.
Yeah, that's what I would say. I mean, I like to say that my behaviors are like, based off of these three things that are really important to me.
Okay. Well, because everybody has a different definition of these values, they look different to each person. I'd like to maybe dive in a little bit more to what you see them as. So let's talk about maybe the family and kin. Kind of paint a picture of what that means as far as how are you at the best when it comes to family and kin? What does that look like for you? What would you look like if you valued family and
Okay.
kin?
Well, right now I have a daughter, and she is like everything to me. And well, her and I live with my mom and dad right now. As far as painting a good picture, I think that it would probably be maybe her, my daughter and I living elsewhere, like, with not living with my parents, being a better, more independent mother, I think would be, in my mind, better. As far as my relationship with my parents, that's important to me also, and I feel like maybe even moving would be beneficial for them, for our relationship too. I just don't know if that's a possibility right now.
Okay, so I gather from what you said, um, one thing that's really important about family is providing for your needs of your child, specifically your daughter.
Yeah, in this case, definitely, a home, and even other needs, like financially, I would like to be able to provide her with whatever she needs. So it's definitely important to me.
Okay, and when it comes to your parents, what I also gathered is that not only is your daughter important, but your parents are important. You do want to have a good relationship with them, but it sounds like you're saying maybe there's a little bit of a strain at this moment that you're living in the same household as them.
Right. I feel like it's maybe putting a lot, it's making our relationship worse, almost, that I'm there and I'm depending on them. And it's important to me because it's really the only family I have ever since my daughter's father and I broke up, it's mainly just my parents.
So they're kind of what has maybe kept you together in the past couple of months.
Yeah.
Okay. So with the family situation, what maybe led you to having to stay with them?
Well, when my daughter's father and I broke up, so I moved out, and I was working at the time, and I'm not working anymore, so I didn't have enough money to move in on my own.
Okay.
So that's why I'm with my mom and dad.
Okay, so they've been very supportive to you.
Yeah, they're always there to provide for me when I need it.
That's good. That's a really good thing to have, and it can help in future situations and stress.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we kind of covered family and kin, and it seems like that's a very important value of yours. But maybe let's move on to the health and well-being. Can you tell me a little bit about that? What does that look like towards as far as being the best you or being the most ideal self when it comes to health and well-being?
Well, I like to eat healthy, and I like to run. Unfortunately, I feel like right now that's not really been happening. I worked in a restaurant as a waitress for a while, and I didn't really feel like they had very healthy food, so that wasn't going well. And then, like I said, financially, like right now I'm unemployed. I try to buy my own groceries at my parents so they don't have to do everything for my daughter and I, but without a lot of money, you can't really buy healthy food. So I'm kind of struggling with that, and I'm like tired. I don't really feel good a lot, so I don't really run a lot.
Okay, so it sounds like usually you're able to kind of keep up with your health and well-being, but maybe recently you haven't as much.
Right.
Have you noticed a trend, or do you feel like there may have been a specific event that may have started that decrease in looking at your health and well-being?
I mean, losing my job, maybe. Financially I couldn't, and I mean, I have more time on my hands now, so I guess I could probably find the time to run. I just don't really feel good sometimes, and I mean, I like to do other things too, so I don't know. I just haven't really got it.
Okay. And what kind of led to your unemployment status? Like, how did you end up losing your job?
Well, like I said, I was a waitress, and I was sometimes late because I have a daughter and I have to take care of her, and I have friends, and I like to socialize with them, and I just had a lot going on, and I would be late sometimes, and they just said finally they just said that they had to fire me because I was consistently running late.
Okay, so you weren't able to kind of keep up with the time commands time demands of the job.
Yeah, I would say that's the main reason they let me go.
And I'd like to kind of go back to one of the reasons why you said you were here, and that is your drinking. And so when it comes to your drinking, how do you feel like that has maybe affected your health and well-being as far as keeping it up? Does it help with it, or does it hurt it? What have you noticed?
Well, I guess, I mean, I don't think it's that bad. I mean, I drink sometimes. I know drinking's not great for you, but I've noticed that when I do drink a lot, I don't feel very well. But it's not like I drink every day. It's not like it's that big of a problem. I just really like to socialize and go out with my friends.
So you currently wouldn't necessarily label it as a problem.
Right.
But you're here because your mom has labeled it as a problem.
Exactly. She thinks that my priorities are off, whatever that means.
Okay. So going back to, I know you mentioned that sometimes you've drank a little too much and it kind of made you lethargic. Can you think of a specific event and maybe what ended up happening as far as how did you feel?
Well, it was my birthday, so obviously I'm going to go have fun, but I went out with my friends and I drank a lot with them, and the next day I didn't feel very well. I really couldn't take care of my daughter, I guess, that well the next day, but I didn't have to work that day, so that really wasn't an issue. But yeah, it definitely had some impacts on me the next day.
Okay, can you tell me, how did your daughter react? that night or that day?
Well, she gets upset when I can't like attend to her. Like she always wants to be with me. So I mean, she cried a lot. Like she was really upset. You know, when I'm laying on the couch and I'm getting sick, and she wants me to be with her.
So drinking has affected your daughter.
I mean, I guess it has.
You seem a little uneasy about that connection. Is there something that's maybe keeping you from seeing that connection, or do you feel like maybe there are other things that it helps with your daughter?
I mean, I've never really felt like drinking has ever helped with my daughter, but I mean, it's kind of a stress reliever for me, so I mean, it helps me. And yeah, I guess it does impact her on days where I drink too much.
Okay, and how often? What do those days look like? Can you kind of describe
I would
those?
say it's mostly every weekend when we would go out with my friends.
So, because it's not every day, you feel like maybe it's not as
That's
big of an
why
issue.
that's why I feel like it's not a problem.
But now let's kind of gear towards the competence and success. What does that look like to you as far as being the best you?
Well, I have a college degree, so I know that I'm capable of, being successful. I just don't like every job I've applied for. I just haven't really. They always say I don't have enough experience, and then sometimes I don't know if that's really the career I want. So that's why I've been, waitressing, and not, I guess, furthering my career. But ultimately, I would like to be in a, career that I really enjoyed.
Okay, so it sounds like you have a lot of education that's necessary. It's just maybe the experience that's keeping you out of the job you would want.
Right.
Okay. And how do you feel like your drinking has affected that goal towards getting into a career that you enjoy?
Well, my mom says that she always says that I don't have the experience because I have my drinking and going out with my friends is priority over maybe volunteering or getting a part-time job doing something that would further my career. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, when she puts it like that, I guess it does make sense that, I choose drinking and going out with my friends over something that could benefit benefit my career. But I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me to see my life without doing the socialization and drinking with my friends.
Okay. So it sounds like you see that there are good sides to potentially maybe lower your drinking or maybe even stop drinking, but you also would miss out on hanging out with your friends.
Exactly. Like I get what my mom was saying, that these decisions would probably benefit me in the future, but right now it's just I don't know if I see that change being realistic in my life.
Okay. We kind of talked about how it looks for you as far as the values, but let's kind of talk about what would that look like as far as the perfect world if people valued family and kin. What would that look like to you?
If someone else did?
If the whole world had the same value of family and kin, what would that look like?
Well, I guess they would, their kids would be their priority over everything. They would be very attentive to their children. Being sick probably wouldn't for their kids. Or going out with and drinking with friends probably wouldn't come before them every week. I mean, I think every once in a while it's fine, but I guess it wouldn't happen as often as it happens with me.
So maybe you're seeing that potentially your behavior has maybe gotten in the way of being the best you as far as your family and your kin goes.
Probably the best mom I can be. Like, I can see that. I mean, I don't feel like I'm a horrible mom, but I feel like I probably make decisions that probably aren't best for my daughter.
And I can understand that maybe hearing that might make you feel like you're a horrible mom, but I think the fact that you're here shows a lot about how you do care about her. Because if you didn't care about her, you wouldn't be here. Yeah. So I think recognizing that and understanding that, and I think that's a really good thing about you. Um, so we maybe see that maybe drinking gets in the way of family and kin. Let's go on to health and well-being. If everybody valued health and well-being, what would that look like as far as the perfect world?
I guess people would make better decisions with, grocery shopping and what they would buy for their, not just my well-being, but my daughter. So, like, what you would buy for your kids to eat and yourself, and exercising.
Mm-hmm.
People would exercise more.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and I think that is a really good picture of what that might look like as far as exercising more and being more conscious of what you purchase at the grocery store, not only for yourself, but also people that depend on you. As far as your drinking, do you feel like there is maybe a disconnect between your health and well-being and your drinking and when you drink?
Yeah, I've always kind of said, I understand that alcohol is not good for you by any means, but I've always kind of ate healthy to make up for it. And that would make me feel better about, putting toxins in my body. I'm like, well, at least I'm eating healthy. But like I said, right now that's not really happening, so it's just not going on.
So you're noticing that maybe at this current moment, your health and well-being may not be a number one priority.
Right.
Okay. And then let's lastly look at the competence and success. If everybody was really focused on competence and success and that was important to them, what would that look like as far as the perfect world?
Well, I think everyone would make decisions that would better themselves, that would, further their own careers, and other things would take priority over going out and, like I said, volunteering or, getting another job or going to trainings or going to things like that, instead of always socializing and having fun with friends. And I see that. It's just hard for me to accept, I think.
So it sounds like you're wanting to maybe change your behavior, but maybe you just don't know how?
Yeah, I'm scared maybe.
Okay. And that's a relatively normal reaction to a lot of people, and maybe that's something we can maybe explore at a later time. Now, we've talked a lot about what is maybe influence, or maybe the positive sides of maybe changing your drinking pattern. Some of the things you brought up is that it does affect how you take care of your daughter at times. It did kind of affect your employment, and it is potentially affecting your employment search currently, and it's also causing a rift between your mom and yourself. And then lastly, you even pointed out that it also is kind of affecting your health, or it may potentially affect your health. But let's kind of talk about what is good about drinking. What do you benefit from drinking?
Well, I think, I feel like I'm very social. Like, I love being with my friends. And when I'm with my friends, we drink. When we go out, we socialize, we drink. And I think that's the most beneficial part in my mind, is that it's like a socialization thing.
So it's a way for you to hang out with your friends.
Yeah.
When you hang out with your friends, are there other things that you sometimes do besides drinking?
No, I pretty much like everything we do. Usually we end up drinking, we're an involved drinker, and then we go somewhere after and drink.
Okay, so a lot of your friends are pretty involved in this kind of behavior as well.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's just become like a habit.
Okay. So if you had to stop, that means maybe you wouldn't be able to hang out with them as much?
Yeah. That would be really hard.
Okay. What else does drinking help you do or help you feel?
I think that it's a stress reliever. I think it takes the focus off the fact that I don't have a job right now, that I'm a single mom, that I live with my parents, that I'm, struggling with money. And it's just kind of a way to just, have fun.
And kind of zone out.
And not worry about that stuff.
Okay. So it sounds like there's a lot of reasons for you to continue drinking, and there's also some reasons for you to stop drinking. Like I said before, you brought up that your family, and you're also worried that maybe it might be affecting your health and potentially even your job search. But on the other hand, you're also seeing that it could affect maybe the friends you hang out with. You may not be able to hang out with the same friends you have been currently. And it's also a way for you to kind of relieve some stress that you may have from your current situation.